Good morning. It is disassembly day for the differential. I've got a few tools laid out. I think I've got the sockets that I need. We'll go through that in a minute. Excuse me. First thing you want to do before you take anything apart, you want to mark the orientation of these caps. So you want to make sure the left side stays on the left side and the right side stays on the right side. And actually, technically, this would be the left and that would be the right in the vehicle. But so I'm going to mark these just to make sure I get those back where they are supposed to be. All right. Just take a punch or something like that, just something that's going to make a mark. That way you can put it back together. And I've done two on this side. I'm just going to do one over here. That way I know that one goes to one, two goes to two. I don't know that you can really mess this up because you can't, I don't think you can put this side on that side. Maybe you could, I don't know. My punch is kind of dull, so I need to sharpen it. Okay, I think that's good enough. So I think the first thing in order is to get these adjuster locks off. These keep your adjusters from turning. All right, so let's see. This is a 12 millimeter. I'm going to put this stuff on the work table here as it comes off with the gears facing me. So I know that goes to this side, which is number 2. Number 1's over here. Now, one thing I'm curious about is, will these adjusters turn with the locks off? I don't know if they turn all the time if they were not there, so let's try it. So I'm going to try to unscrew this one. No, I don't think it's going to turn. So I'm not totally sure on this part. I don't think these can be torqued when you do your bearing preload. Not certain on that. So let me go grab the impact. I forgot the impact. Yeah, so this one is, these are 17 millimeters. Okay, so now that these are loose-ish. Oh yeah, see that turns. So I guess before you torque it, you set your preload, because this is turning pretty easily. All right. So you put that in, and I'm just trying to kind of figure out what's going on here before I take it apart. I haven't turned it much. I probably should have checked the lash before I did that, but that's okay. So we're just doing some disassembly. So this tool, it's a spanner wrench. I picked this up on Amazon. And this has these pins. This moves. So you can adjust this. And this just grabs these adjusters and turns them. Okay, so I believe we're okay to go ahead and just go ahead and take this apart. Hopefully this is not going to come flying out of there. Okay, so let's see. Okay, there's that one. There's that one. So the adjuster came off with this one. This is threaded in here, so when this goes back together, you have to be very careful. You don't cross thread that. Whoop. All right. And it's apart. That adjuster goes there. This is this race, not that it matters. We're replacing those. This comes over here. Okay. So here is your differential. Spider gears in here. Here's your side bearings. I don't know how much play these are supposed to have, but it looks like quite a bit. The rollers look okay. So what I've decided to do is I do plan on doing some mild off-roading in this. So I'm going to pick up a drop-in locker, also known as a lunchbox locker. What does a lunchbox have to do with it? I have no idea. So I'm going to pick up a lunchbox locker. I have not ordered that yet. So let's get the gears out of the way, or the differential out of the way. Grab a couple of paper towels. Clean this up a little bit. All right, I'm going to pause this for just a second. Okay, before you start trying to take the pinion nut off, there's a tab. So when you tighten this, get it torqued, you take a punch. You punch this flange, whatever you want to call that, into that little groove. And that basically keeps the nut from backing off. So I went ahead and did that off camera. Just used a little punch. This is an old punch that's been ground a little bit narrower. This is a 30 millimeter nut. The only 30 millimeter socket that I have is this old Husky. Well, I don't know how old it is, but it's made in USA, so it has to be old, right? So it's not an impact socket. So let's just go ahead and YOLO, right? I don't know if I'll be able to get this off holding this with my hands. I may have to put a tool on this to hold it in place. We'll see. Let me grab a glove. Let's see. I don't know what's going to be the best way to do this. Down or up? Maybe up. Okay, so let's just go for it. So I got this on all the ooga-doogas. Oh, easy. I'm going to save that because when you put the old, I may use that again, I may not, I don't know. I won't reuse it because I have a new one in the kit. So you're going to notice this just doesn't come off. So what you're going to want next is a puller. If you don't have a set of pullers, 2-jaw, 3-jaw, 16-jaw, I don't know. Get a set because they're very handy. If I can get this socket off of here. Okay. Don't need that. This is a 5/8 This too is Craftsman. I'm going to call it old because it's made in USA. All right, so let's make sure we have that going the right direction. Man, look how easy that was. All right, so you can just pick this off. This will fall out. And there's your flange. You also have a seal. There's a seal right here. This looks pretty crusty. Now the pinion gear is held in place by the bearing. You have to knock this out. So I don't know how much beating I'm going to have to do on this. I may have to move this to the floor. Let's see. Yep. All right, so let me reset everything. Uh-oh, and I've got my punch. I've got my punch stuck in there. All right, so let me reset this stuff and then I'll be back. All right, here we go. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but it's pretty rough. So let's see if we can knock this out. It's moving. All right. So there's the pinion gear. This is the crushed sleeve. We'll go over more on that later. So let me get things put back up here and we'll get started again. Okay, we're back up on the table. I'll try to get this seal out. Probably should have done this on the floor, but let's see. See if I can knock this out. You ever need 3 hands? Sometimes it would be handy. Not really sure this is moving. It might be moving. Good grief. Let's try something else before I kill my hand. Hit it with your purse. All right, let's see. Let's try this. Maybe if I do this, a little dead blow. I'm gonna hit this seal puller. Aha. Where there's a will, there's a way. Let's turn this back up before stuff falls out. All right. So here's the seal. That is the seal. Under the seal, so here is what's called a slinger. So one thing that I wasn't sure about was the orientation of the slinger. So the bearing slinger. This will be for my reference as well. So here's the bearing. Bearing slinger. I'm just going back over this in my mind. Okay. So I don't know how much. Let me see if I can get this. Bearing looks pretty rough. Oh, look right here. Pitting on these rollers. So anyway, that is the outer, I guess you would call it, pinion bearing. Now inside here is the race, which also has some pitting. And there's this little sheet metal piece that holds oil in there. Now, the only way to drive this race out is from the other side. And I think you can do this with a sharp punch. It will damage this little sheet metal piece, and then you hammer that back flat. And when you install it, the damaged part goes to 12 o'clock because it only has to hold oil at the bottom. Anyway, that's what I read. So you do you if you want to buy another one of those. I really couldn't find one online that said it fit this, but apparently this does have one. So I've got to wait on the locker anyway, so maybe I'll just order one of those. We'll see. So, and then the other race, the inner race, can be driven out from this direction. All right, I'm going to think about this for just a second on these races and make a plan, and I'll be back. All right, so let's get the inner race out of the way. Just a long punch. Just go one side to the other. And make sure you don't hit your finger. Okay. Let me make sure I'm doing the right thing here. Like I said, guys, I'm an amateur. Okay, so I am hitting the race. You really can't miss it. So let's just keep hammering. It's in there. All right, I think we're moving. We'll find out in a minute. it is moving. Just not at the pace I would like it to be moving. I have already mangled that little piece in there that I was telling you about a little bit. So I think I'll just go ahead and order one of those anyway, because I'm going to destroy it, knocking that outer race out anyway. Hey, all right. Good lordy. Okay. So there's the inner race. This has some wear. I don't really see any pitting, but it does have some wear, obviously. Now, these are Koyo bearings, if you're curious. So this piece in here, I don't know if you can see this. Light maybe. See how that inner piece is deformed? I'm messing up the focus. So that piece goes in before the race, and to knock the outer race out, that will get destroyed. You can buy these online. I don't think I'm going to be able to save this one, so hey. So I do have to order the locker anyway. I think I'm going to have some cleanup to do in here. Where I was punching this, looks like I've created some marks, divots where the race bottoms out. I'll show you in a minute. So probably an amateur mistake, but it will not be the end of the world. I'll clean that up and probably show you how I do that. I think I already know what I'll do. So let's see if we can get this outer race out. Same steps. The beatings will continue until morale improves. think this one might be out. We'll see. Nope, we're close. Okay, so here, yeah, there's no way you're gonna save that thing. So maybe if you were a professional at doing this, you could save that, but I am obviously not a professional, so that's the piece that I'll have to order. I have seen these online. It said it was for the e-locker rear, which this is not an e-locker, but apparently it uses that same piece. So that goes under, that goes in before the outer race goes in. Here's the outer race. It does have some pitting in there as well. So clearly the source of the noise. Where's the pinion bearing? The small bearing. Where did I hide that? You ever lose something right in front of you? Oh, here it is. So the outer, this has got dirt in it now from being on the workbench, but inner race, bearing goes here, and that turns. And when these rollers get pits and things like that in them, they get noisy. Okay, so that concludes the differential teardown. I need to go pick up some brake cleaner, clean everything up. I'm going to try to save. I'll probably cut these outer cages off and save these inner portions of the bearing, because I believe I'm going to have to use this to push the new ones on. If I don't need them, that's fine. Not going to show, well, maybe I will show. So let me get the puller set up and we'll see if we can get these side bearings off. I'll be back. So I have a dilemma. A bearing splitter is not big enough to close around that bearing. You can see there's no threads coming through to put these nuts on. So what I'm going to do is cut this cage off. That way I can get the splitter closer to that that race. And we'll see how that goes. All right, so that just took a minute. I cut the cage off using these long handle cutters. It's pretty easy. I may do the next one on camera just to show you how easy it was. So essentially what we've got now is just the race, and I should be able to close up. There's a lip right here. Don't think I can get under that one. So I'm going to try this outer lip. So let me get everything set up and we'll try to pull it. All right, so let's see how this works. It's still not great, but it's better. Let me loosen these nuts a little bit. So I can at least get the nuts started. There we go, need 3 hands. So on this particular bearing splitter, these are 19 millimeter nuts. Ah. And where's my wrench? So let's tighten this up. You do want this to be pretty tight because you don't want it to spread open when you're pulling. try that. So, one problem when you try to pull or use this puller, you have nothing to push into, push against. So what I'm going to try to do, and I've done this before, is use a socket. These are two washers. Are you seeing this? Yeah. These are two washers off of shocks. These are just shock washers. I save a lot of stuff because you never know when it may or may not come in handy. And then what you want to do is put a little grease, because this is going to turn. So you don't want this to bind up. I need a lot, just some. You don't want that to turn. Okay, there we go. Probably need just a little bit bigger socket, but I'm going to try that one. Looks like that's going to work. Let's grab a couple of washers. These washers aren't the best. Actually, they're pretty bad. Let me see if I can find another washer or two. These fit. Oh yeah, those are better. I believe this was 14 millimeter on these. Okay, so I did put grease on those washers. Let's put some grease on this. And socket. What size was this? Oh, I think this one's, let's see. I know I brought one. Where'd it go? Sorry, I just put my head in the way. What's that? Nope. What did I do with that socket? Ah, hang on. Sorry, I may have had that zoomed in too much. Okay, we are against the socket. No idea how this is going to work, guys, so let's just go for it. Hey, look at that. Perfect. Man, that was easy. Just like on TV. All right, so our race, here's our race. I'm going to save these because I believe I'm going to need them to push the new bearings on. So let me reset and we'll do the other side. All right, some of this may look a little bit out of sorts because I got ahead of myself and forgot to press the pinion bearing off. So I'm going to do that next. Maybe. Man, this one's tough. Let's see, let's see. So normally you would use a cutoff wheel, death wheel, whatever you want to call it, and just cut this, but I had good luck on the cages of the carrier bearings. So I figured I would do it this way just the same. This may be the hard way if you have a cutoff wheel. And I would recommend doing that. And this wasn't too bad though. This is definitely a thicker cage. What I'm after here is I'm gonna get a roller out of the way so I can cut the bottom. Close. So close, yet so far. Yeah. All right, come on. You can do it. Riding the struggle bus. It has arrived. All right, come on. Come on! All right, there we go. Now we should be able to get to this bottom part of the cage easier than the top. Easier said than done, right? Man, whew. Now, let's try to separate this. Get this removed. I'm doing this so I can get my bearing separator on here. Holy cow. Let's see. Oop, what did I get here? Totally the wrong size. Wow. What was I thinking? 17, 16? Uh, 17. Okay, I'm going to go over here and set this up on the press. We'll push this off. All right, so basically what we're doing here is I've got the bearing separator resting on these plates, and just got this piece here to bridge the gap. And we'll bring this down. Okay. And we will start pushing. You want to put your hand under here because when this comes loose, it's going to fall out. And there it is. And that's how you press the pinion race off. Now under here, it's stuck, but you can see it moving. That's your shim. We're going to reuse that. Since we're reusing the gears, we're going to reuse the shim, and that sets your pinion depth. So don't lose that. Okay, first step on this one is to cut the cage. Doesn't matter where you start, just start somewhere. So this, you can actually pull this up just a little to get some room. Okay, so we're through the top part. What I'll do is pry this out some. What I want to do is get that roller. I want to get that roller out of there. See that roller? It's kind of like pulling a tooth. You just want to knock that out. Okay, so there's the roller. And the reason I do that is because I want to, oh, no, that was not the roller. This is the roller. Okay. What I want to do is get to this bottom part of the cage. I'm going to cut that. Okay. So that's cut. I'm going to lay this on its side because I don't want the rollers going down in the spider gears. Even though I'm going to be taking this apart to do the locker, I don't want to have those rolling around in there. So I'm going to spread this out. What's going to happen is that. Okay, so that just leaves your race stuck to the carrier. Then we can come in with our bearing splitter. Get this all tightened up. I am liking this. Uh-oh, maybe I should zoom back out. Oh, wrong way. So I'm liking this 3/8 impact quite a bit. Saves time. Importantly, wrists and shoulders. Okay, so we want to reset our nuts up top. So these are tight, these are tight. Let's bring in our socket and our washers. I'm so glad I kept these because these are super handy right now. Okay, so let's go back to the 11/16. And we should be ready, right? So everything's tight, 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 ready to roll. Sweet. Okay, guys, that is going to conclude the Toyota 8-inch V6 differential disassembly, not including the spider gears. I will come back. I've got to go get some brake cleaner, clean all this up. I need to order that little sheet metal piece, whatever that's called. It does something with oil, holds oil in place, something, I don't know. So maybe one of you guys can tell me what that does. So I've got to order that, and I got to order the locker. So this will be it for now. I still have to do the wheel bearings on the axles. I've got the fender off. I may try to punch that dent out. We'll see. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I would appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one.